and I'm the Executive Director of Extraordinary Lutheran Ministries, and I just wanted to thank you for being here today. You're going to be hearing from a few people who will be telling you different parts of the story of today's historic service. The first person we're going to be hearing from is Bishop Mark Holmrud. He's the Bishop of the Sierra Pacific Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and that's the region you're in for you now. After we hear from Bishop Mark, we're going to hear from two of the pastors who will be received today, Reverend Jeff Johnson and Reverend Megan Rohr, and they'll be telling you pieces of their story, and I'll be speaking a bit about just from the movement perspective, as there are many organizations and individuals who've been involved in this whole process. That'll be it. We'll have a time for questions after everyone gives a brief statement, and then there's more activities next door. If anyone from the press has questions about what you do when you're over there or more information, please come talk to me. Thank you. Bishop Palmer?
Thank you.
Could you say and spell your name again?
I can do that. Mark W. and it's Holmrud, H-O-L, M as in Mary, E-R-U-D. Thank you. It's my privilege to be here today to stand with these 7 colleagues and to be able to be a part of the history that I think we're making today for not just the ELCA, but for the Christian church and its witness to the world about the witness that Christ offered, who is welcome, who is able to be a part of and to be active in God's redemptive work in the world. I happen to have been blessed with working relationships in some way, form, or fashion with these 7 clergy in my time as a pastor in this synod before I was elected bishop. So it's a special joy and privilege for me to be able to be here today as bishop and to welcome fellow bishops from other parts of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. Bishop Dean Nelson from the Southwest California Synod, Bishop Emeritus Paul Egertson from the Southwest California Synod, Bishop Dave Brower-Reike from the Oregon Synod, and there are 2 other bishops that will be here, Bishop Stan Olson, who formerly served this area in a predecessor church body known as the Lutheran Church in America, and Bishop Mark Andrus, the Episcopal Bishop for this diocese in this area, will also be here. So we're privileged to have not just the bishops and not just the pastors, but everyone who's here today to see the culmination of some work that began in earnest many, many years ago. Last year in 2009, in August, the ELCA voted in its assembly in Minneapolis to be a church that would open its rosters to be more inclusive of those who are lesbian and gay and bisexual and transgender, to be able to serve as people who are called to the ministry and who live in open relationships and committed relationships. We moved forward from that day through a process that involved the ELCA Church Council and the Conference of Bishops to be able to craft this rite of reception that will be taking place today as a way of living into what it is we said we intend to be as a church representing Christ in the world today. And with that, perhaps are we doing questions now, or are we moving on to the next person and then doing questions at the end? Where's Amalia? She's my guiding star.
I think questions at the end.
Okay, questions at the end. So I'll turn this over to Pastor Jeff Johnson.
There you go.
All right.
My name is Jeff Johnson, Johnsson. I'm the pastor at University Lutheran Chapel in Berkeley. 20 years ago, I was ordained alongside 2 colleagues, Ruth Frost and Phyllis Silhart, because of the courageous action of 2 congregations, dozens of Lutheran clergy, and members of the ELCA. They believed with their whole hearts that our church should not be engaged in any kind of discrimination against gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people and our families, and which was, at that time, being advocated by our denomination and by our leaders at the highest level. These courageous people acted within the authority of our confessions, which are 500-year-old documents, but without the approval of our denomination, and they tried to convince and coerce all of these people to go along with them with the newly established policy of lifelong coercive celibacy for gay and lesbian, bisexual, and transgender clergy. But they believed so firmly that this policy of celibacy was wrong, that it ruined lives, that it destroyed faith, and so they risked reputation, careers, and their membership in this church to stand against it. They hoped that someday the denomination might join them in respecting the presence of gay and lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people in this church. This is the day to which we have finally come. Today, these courageous brothers and sisters and these courageous actions have been ratified by our denomination. Our church is joining these sisters and brothers in bearing witness to the heresy of coercive celibacy and to the reality of God's unconditional love, which stands at the heart of our confession. Today, the ELCA is summoning the same courage, the same conviction which led Lutherans 20 years ago, and is charting a new way forward into a future where the actions of our church will match the words our church believes.
Amen.
For too long, we have been burdened by bias and prejudice. For too long, we have talked about diversity and respect and inclusivity, but we have been unable to build inclusive community, to act respectfully, and to celebrate diversity. Today marks a real beginning for our denomination as we build real, inclusive, respectful, and diverse community. And while we cannot exonerate the church or its leaders for their inhospitable actions of the past, actions which have ruined careers, broken up families, and destroyed faith, we can build forward together by telling the truth and resolving to live together differently, respectfully, and understanding, appreciating, and celebrating one another and the unique gifts we bring to the common table. The Lutheran Church has finally come to the place where we all knew it was headed. It just took us a while to get here. It's been a lengthy journey full of hard conversation and difficult ways of living together, but our church has emerged stronger and more able to live together and up to the promises it proclaims. Today, the church is speaking with a clear voice. All people are welcome here. All people are invited to help lead this church. All people are invited to participate. And all people are loved unconditionally by God, who desires that we share this love throughout the world.
Amen.
Megan.